You don't need drugs, you don't need alcohol, you don't need to waste your weekends at parties or drown yourself at festivals pretending that you're alive. That isn't life. That isn't power. That isn't progress. That's sedation. That's distraction. That's you numbing the fact that deep down you know you haven't built anything worth respect. Fun has become the excuse of the weak. It's the word men use when they have no results, no achievements, no victories. They say, I just want to have fun. And what does fun give them? Nothing. No strength, no money, no respect, no legacy, just wasted hours and the slow, invisible raw of potential. Life is not about fun. Life is about purpose. As a man, life is about duty, responsibility, action, and results. Fun is what comes after the war, after you've conquered, after you've built, after you've earned the right to look in the mirror and say, I've done something. Until then, fun is a lie that keeps you soft. If you wake up every morning and your first thought is, how do I enjoy myself today? You're already finished, because someone else out there wakes up with one thought. How do I win today? And when you meet him in the marketplace, in the boardroom, or on the battlefield of life, he'll take everything from you. Because while you chased fun, he chased power. The truth is this: you don't deserve fun until you've earned it. You don't get to relax until you've built something worth defending. You don't get to indulge until you've proven that you can conquer. Until then, every second you spend chasing fun is theft. You're stealing from your own future. You're robbing your own bloodline. You're murdering the man you could have become. A man doesn't find joy in cheap entertainment. A man finds joy in progress. Real satisfaction comes from the weight on your shoulders, from fighting battles that matter, from doing what other men can't. Joy is looking at your body and seeing it forged like iron. Joy is looking at your bank account and knowing you bled for it. Joy is seeing your family safe because you built walls high enough to keep danger out. That is joy. That is real fun. Ask yourself this: have you earned the right to relax? Have you built a life where you can look around and say, I deserve rest? Most of you haven't, and yet you party like kings while living like peasants. You drink to forget that you're ordinary. You smoke to ignore the voice telling you you're weak. You chase girls because you can't face yourself. And then you wonder why you wake up empty. You want to feel alive? Stop chasing the easy dopamine. Stop pretending distraction is happiness. Start chasing pain. Start chasing resistance. Start chasing the impossible. The iron barbell is more fun than the nightclub because the barbell changes you. The challenge is more fun than the drink because the challenge makes you harder. The mountain is more fun than the festival because the mountain forces you to become a man worthy of respect.
Fun is for people who don't matter. Fun is for men who will die forgotten.
Do you really think the men who carved history into stone were worried about missing out on parties? Do you think warriors who carried swords and shields were asking each other what concert to go to? Do you think empire builders, innovators, conquerors wasted their time in the name of fun? No. They sacrificed. They worked, they suffered, they bled, and that's why we remember them centuries later while the fun seekers rotted nameless in the dirt. You don't need fun. You need responsibility. You need goals so big they scare you. You need resistance that forces you to break your limits. You need a mission so heavy that it suffocates weakness out of you. You need to wake up every morning with a list of things to conquer and not sleep until every single one is crushed. That's what you need. Your fun should come from the kill, from the deal closed, from the enemy defeated, from the body transformed, from the bank account multiplied. That's where joy lives for men. That's where the fire comes from. Fun is not the drink in your hand. Fun is seeing the results of 10,000 hours of blood and sweat while your rivals collapse under the weight you carried without breaking. And if you can't understand this, then you'll never rise, because life will break you. Weak men cling to fun because they can't handle reality. Strong men embrace reality, and reality rewards them with victory. So here's the rule. Until you've built, until you've conquered, until you've won, you don't deserve fun. You deserve the grind. You deserve the struggle. You deserve the war, because that war will forge you into a man people respect. Into a man your enemies fear, into a man your children admire. If everyone else can do it, it isn't worth your time. If everyone else can buy a ticket, walk in, and waste hours, then you should stay out. Your place is in the places only a few men can go. The gym at 5 a.m., the office when others are sleeping, the battlefield when others are hiding. That's where kings are built. That's where legacies are written. Remember this. Contentment without achievement is fake. Happiness without progress is poison. And fun without purpose is death. You want to be important? Earn it. You want respect? Bleed for it. You want real joy? Go through hell and come out harder. Stop chasing fun. Start chasing greatness.
That's the only game worth playing. You've been lied to. You've been told happiness comes from balance, from moderation, from sprinkling in a little work and a little play, from chasing a healthy lifestyle where you never push too hard. That's why you feel dead inside, because men are not built for balance. Men are built for extremes. Men are built for struggle. Men are built for conquest. The happiest men you'll ever meet are not the ones with the most leisure. They are the ones with the heaviest burdens. They are the ones fighting battles no one else can fight. They are the ones carrying scars, dragging chains, bleeding through their shirts, and still moving forward because they know that pain is the toll you pay for greatness. Without pain, without struggle, without fire, there is no meaning. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the signal that you're alive. Pain is the reminder that you're in the arena, not in the stands. Weak men run from pain because they think comfort will save them. But comfort is the slow death. Comfort is the slow rot. Comfort is how strong men become soft, how warriors become peasants, how lions become house cats. If you've never felt the burn of exhaustion, if you've never felt the panic of being broke, if you've never stared at the ceiling at 3 a.m., wondering how you'll survive the month, then you don't know yourself. Struggle exposes who you are. Struggle strips away the mask. Struggle shows you what you're really made of. That's why the weak avoid it. They're terrified of seeing their reflection. You want to feel proud? Then carry something that crushes most men. Lift weights that bend bars. Take risks that paralyze cowards. Walk paths that break 99 out of 100 who try. You'll only know your worth when you're under pressure. Diamonds are made under pressure. Steel is forged in fire. And men are no different. If your life is easy, you're being melted into wax. If your life is hard, you're being sharpened into a blade. Competence. That's the word no one wants to hear anymore. Everyone wants to express themselves, to be authentic, to just be who they are. But who you are means nothing if you can't perform. Competence is the only thing that matters. Can you do it or can't you? Can you carry the weight or not? Can you execute or will you collapse? Every man should wake up with one obsession: becoming competent in everything that matters. Strong enough to defend, sharp enough to outthink, disciplined enough to outlast, relentless enough to outwork. The world doesn't care how you feel. The world only cares what you can do. And if you can't do anything, don't be surprised when the world spits you out and forgets your name. Stop chasing fun. Start chasing competence. Start mastering the hard skills that other men run from. Start putting yourself in situations that force growth. Learn to fight. Learn to build. Learn to lead. Learn to suffer. Learn to make decisions when you're tired, when you're stressed, when you're broken. That's competence. That's what earns respect. That's what makes men into legends. Exceptionalism. That's the standard. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. The world is divided into two classes: the exceptional few and the forgettable masses. If you're not striving for exceptionalism, you've already chosen to be forgotten. You've already chosen to be one of the nameless faces who will die and rot without a trace. Exceptional men are remembered because they did what others refused to do. They carried more weight. They pushed harder. They bled longer. They turned pain into fuel and suffering into greatness. They didn't run from discomfort. They hunted it. They didn't avoid problems. They solved them. They didn't pray for an easy life. They demanded a hard life and then crushed it. Look in the mirror. What do you see? A man chasing comfort or a man who refuses to stop until he becomes exceptional? You'll never respect yourself until you push past your own limits. You'll never admire yourself until you've done something that 99% of men would collapse under. That's why your confidence is fake. That's why your self-esteem is fragile, because deep down, you know you haven't done anything exceptional. You want to feel like a king? Earn it. Build a body that intimidates people before you even speak. Build a mind sharp enough to cut through lies and weakness. Build a life so disciplined that nothing can break you. That's exceptionalism. That's purpose. That's fulfillment. And here's the brutal truth: you're unhappy because you're average. That's it. Average men are miserable because they know deep in their bones that they were meant for more. But instead of chasing that more, they numb themselves with alcohol, with Netflix, with porn, with fun. They bury the voice inside them under cheap distractions. And every day that passes, that voice gets quieter until it dies completely. Don't let it die. Don't bury yourself alive. Pain is the path. Struggle is the path. Competence is the path. Exceptionalism is the only standard. Anything less is slavery. Anything less is a slow death. Anything less is weakness disguised as comfort. So stop running from difficulty. Seek it, embrace it, hunt it down, because the man who makes pain his ally becomes unstoppable. The man who turns struggle into fuel cannot be broken. The man who rejects mediocrity and demands exceptionalism becomes immortal. That's the truth, and most men can't handle it. But you're not most men, are you? Your body is the first battlefield. Before you conquer business, before you conquer women, before you conquer the world, you conquer the reflection in the mirror. Because if you can't dominate yourself physically, you'll never dominate yourself mentally. Look around you. Weak, soft, slouched bodies everywhere. Men with bellies hanging over belts, shoulders curled forward like prey, faces bloated from beer and junk food. And then they wonder why they feel powerless, why they get no respect, why they can't even look themselves in the eye. The world treats you the way you look. If you look weak, the world will step on you. If you look strong, the world hesitates before testing you. This is why the gym isn't optional. The gym is the foundation. It is the simplest, most honest test of discipline. A barbell never lies. Gravity doesn't care about your feelings. The weight doesn't care if you're tired, sad, or stressed. It only cares if you're strong enough to lift it. The iron exposes the truth. Every rep is a negotiation between who you are now and who you're supposed to become. And most of you lose that negotiation daily because you refuse to step in the arena. You want confidence? Build a body that forces it. You want respect? Build a frame that demands it. You want self-belief? Earn it rep by rep, set by set, until the man in the mirror terrifies the boy you used to be. Confidence doesn't come from affirmations. It doesn't come from talking to yourself in the mirror. It comes from stacking undeniable proof that you are a man who does what he says he will do, and the gym is the fastest way to stack that proof. Every man who's ever transformed himself will tell you the same thing. The gym saved their life. Not because lifting weights magically changes the universe, but because it rewires your brain. Discipline in the gym bleeds into discipline everywhere else. When you push past your limits under the bar, you learn you can push past limits outside the bar. When you force yourself to show up tired, sore, broken, you learn that feelings are irrelevant. That lesson alone separates winners from losers. But most of you are cowards. You want the results without the suffering. You want the body without the pain. You want the power without the sacrifice. And that's why you fail. Because the iron demands payment. It demands blood, sweat, time, and consistency. And if you won't pay the toll, you stay weak. Period. Stop pretending you don't have time. You have time to scroll your phone for 3 hours. You have time to watch shows. You have time to go out drinking. But you don't have 1 hour to transform your body? Pathetic. You're not too busy. You're too weak. And weakness is a choice. Training isn't about looks. Looks are the side effect. Training is about war. Training is about forging the kind of mind that doesn't fold when life gets heavy. Every squat is practice for when life puts the world on your shoulders. Every deadlift is practice for when you're forced to lift burdens others can't handle. Every fight round is practice for when reality punches you in the mouth. Learn to fight. If you've never stepped in a ring, you don't know yourself. You don't know what you're capable of. You don't know how you'll respond when someone bigger, faster, stronger tries to break you. That ignorance is weakness. Men must know where their breaking point is. Men must know what it feels like to bleed, to be tired, to want to quit, and to keep going anyway. Because that's life. Life is a fight. Life will throw punches at you. Life will slam you to the floor. Life will choke you until your vision blurs. And if you've never trained, never prepared, never conditioned yourself to embrace pain, then life will crush you. Training teaches you the truth, that your mind quits long before your body does. You think you're tired? You're not. You think you're broken? You're not. You think you can't do another round? You can. The gym, the ring, the mat, they strip away your lies and expose your real potential. And once you've seen that potential, you can never go back. You should look dangerous. Not because you're a thug, not because you're reckless, but because the world respects danger. Women respect it. Men respect it. Enemies respect it. Weakness invites disrespect. Strength demands silence. A man who walks into a room carved from discipline, sharp-eyed and unbreakable, doesn't need to raise his voice. His presence does it for him. That's what training gives you. That's what weakness steals from you. And here's the truth that will cut most of you. You don't hate the gym. You hate yourself in the gym. You hate being confronted by your own weakness. You hate the mirror that shows you what you've let yourself become. You hate the weight that exposes your lack of discipline. And instead of fixing it, you run. You avoid the truth. And that's why you stay small. That's why you stay weak. That's why you'll die invisible. But you don't have to. You can flip the script today. One representative, one set, one session. Every time you train, you kill the old version of yourself and build the new one. Every time you sweat, you write your legacy in your own blood. Every time you suffer, you buy freedom from weakness. So here's the reality. Your body is not optional. Your body is your badge. Your body is your signal to the world. Your body is the foundation of your mind. And if you can't master it, you will never master anything else. Do not hide behind excuses. Do not hide behind fun. Do not hide behind weakness disguised as self-acceptance. If you love yourself, prove it in the gym. If you respect yourself, prove it under the bar. If you want the world to respect you, build a body that commands it. Because in the end, the gym isn't about lifting weights, it's about lifting yourself. And if you can't even do that, then you deserve to stay weak. You've built the body, good, but muscle alone doesn't buy freedom. You can be jacked and still broke. You can look strong and still live like a slave. Because money is another battlefield, and most of you are losing before you even step onto it. The truth is simple. If you are broke, you are controlled. You can scream all you want about independence, about freedom, about how you're a man who does what he wants, but if another man signs your paycheck, if another man decides how much you earn, if another man can replace you tomorrow, you are not free. You are a pawn on someone else's board. Money is not about greed. Money is about power. It's about security. It's about options. Without it, you are trapped in survival mode, forced to take whatever crumbs the system throws you. With it, you have leverage. You can choose where you live, who you work with, what you build, how you spend your time. Money is not the end, it's the amplifier. It magnifies your competence. It magnifies your strength. It magnifies your ability to lead. Without it, you're shouting into the void. And yet most men treat money like a lottery ticket. They pray for luck. They chase shortcuts. They waste time on get-rich-quick garbage. They throw money into meme coins, into distractions, into fake flexes, then wonder why their lives never change. You're not broke because you're unlucky. You're broke because you're undisciplined, because you treat money like a game instead of a weapon. Understand this. Money respects discipline the same way the gym does. It respects consistency. It respects sacrifice. It respects obsession. If you don't build those traits, you'll stay broke forever. But if you decide today that you will learn, adapt, grind, and bleed for competence and wealth, money will bend to you. Stop thinking small. Stop thinking in wages. Wages are a leash. But I make $20 an hour, $40 an hour, $60 an hour. Irrelevant. You're still capped. You're still chained. You're still trading hours you can never get back for scraps that keep you just comfortable enough not to revolt. Break the leash. Start thinking in terms of scale. Start thinking in terms of value. Start thinking in terms of ownership. The man who builds assets builds empires. The man who builds empires bends the world around him. The man who bends the world doesn't need to ask permission, he gives orders. You want that life? Then kill the wage slave mentality. Stop living for Friday night. Stop celebrating paychecks that barely cover rent. Stop pretending comfort is success. Making money is war, and war is not won by the timid. It's won by the men who are willing to play bigger, risk more, and bleed longer. But risk does not mean recklessness. Risk without knowledge is gambling. Risk with competence is strategy. That's why you need to learn. Read, study, watch, fail, adapt, repeat. Every hour wasted on comfort is an hour stolen from your empire. And let's get one thing straight. If you are broke, stop chasing women. Stop chasing parties. Stop chasing validation. You have no business distracting yourself with pleasure while you're still a slave. Your only priority should be building the machine. Stack skills, stack knowledge, stack cash. Once you can protect, provide, and lead, then and only then do you deserve indulgence. Until then, lock in. But here's what most men will never admit. They're afraid of wealth because wealth demands responsibility. If you build money, you lose the excuse of being powerless. You can't blame the system, can't blame your boss, can't blame your upbringing, because now it's on you. And weak men would rather stay broke and comfortable than rich and accountable. That's why they'll never escape. Do not let that be you. Do not die with excuses in your mouth. Die with results in your hands. Every man alive today has access to the same opportunities: information, connectivity, global markets. If you're still broke, it's not because you can't, it's because you won't. You're too lazy, too distracted, too weak to cut the bullshit and commit. The formula is simple. Money flows to those who solve problems. The bigger the problem, the bigger the reward. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to be relentless enough to solve problems better than the man next to you. That's it. Stop chasing hacks. Stop waiting for luck. Start solving. And when you've built wealth, use it like a weapon. Use it to shield your family. Use it to create leverage. Use it to dominate markets, dominate industries, dominate your environment. Money should move mountains for you. If it doesn't, you're not using it correctly. but do not misunderstand me. Money alone will not make you a man. Money in the hands of a coward only exposes his cowardice. Money in the hands of a weakling only funds his weakness. Money in the hands of the undisciplined destroys him. That's why competence comes first. Build the man, then build the empire. Your body is the armor. Your mind is the weapon. Your wealth is the fortress. Together, they make you untouchable. But leave out one piece and you'll be exposed. That's why the war never ends. That's why the grind never stops. Because the moment you stop pushing, the world catches up and eats you alive. So stop whining about money. Stop envying rich men. Stop making excuses about why it's harder for you. Hard is the point. Hard is the filter. Hard is what makes wealth worth having. If everyone could do it, it wouldn't mean anything. You don't want easy money. You want earned money, because only earned money builds respect, builds competence, builds legacy. The battlefield of money separates the kings from the peasants just as much as the gym does. And right now, you know which side you're on. The question is, will you stay there? Or will you fight your way out? At some point, the money won't be enough, the cars won't be enough, the women, the trips, the houses, the status, it all fades. Because eventually you'll ask yourself the only question that matters. Will anyone remember me when I'm gone? Most men are terrified of that question. They don't ask it out loud because the answer is too brutal. The truth is, most men die as ghosts. They live invisible lives, die invisible deaths, and the world never notices they were even here. Their legacy is nothing but a line on a tombstone and a few people crying for a week before moving on. That is the destiny of the average. That is the hell of irrelevance. And yet, here you are wasting time like you have forever, scrolling, partying, jerking off, distracting yourself while your life ticks away. You forget that every hour is blood leaking from your body. Every second is stolen by death. The clock is undefeated and you sit there acting like you've got another 500 years. You don't. You've got one shot, one life, one story, and if you waste it, you will rot as nothing. Legacy is not given. It's carved. It's earned through scars, through risk, through sacrifice. Legacy is built when you live in such a way that the world cannot ignore you. When you move so loudly, the earth has to keep your name etched into it. But that requires war against irrelevance. That requires obsession with leaving a mark that cannot be erased. You think legacy is about fame? Wrong. Fame is a trick. Legacy is impact. Legacy is building something so strong, so undeniable, that even your enemies are forced to remember you. Alexander died over 2,000 years ago, and people still speak his name. Why? Because he conquered. Because he did what others feared. Because he didn't settle for a quiet existence. He burned his name into history with fire and blood. That's the model. And no, you don't have to conquer empires, but you do have to conquer yourself. You do have to conquer your circumstances. You do have to rise to a level so undeniable that when people think of strength, when they think of power, when they think of resilience, they think of you. That is how you win immortality. But here's the catch. Legacy doesn't come from comfort. Legacy doesn't come from fitting in. Legacy doesn't come from chasing fun. Legacy comes from struggle, from enemies, from challenges that force you to bleed and rise again. Legacy is only earned when you are willing to walk through fire that weak men run from. Ask yourself, what will your children say about you? Will they remember you as the man who broke the cycle, who built an empire, who stood unshaken? Or will they whisper about you as the man who wasted potential, who stayed average, who settled for scraps? Generations depend on you. Bloodlines depend on you. If you don't rise, your family stays chained. That is your duty. That is your burden. That is your chance to become immortal. And here's the reality. Nobody cares about your excuses. Nobody will write on your tombstone, "He could have been great, but he was tired." Nobody will remember you for your intentions. You are remembered for results. You are remembered for scars turned into victories. You are remembered for what you built, not what you thought about building. You want legacy? Then stop chasing validation. Stop chasing fun. Stop wasting your name on weakness. Every action you take is writing your story. And right now, most of you are writing a tragedy. Rewrite it. Start today. Build a body that commands respect. Build money that builds empires. Build a mindset that can't be broken. And build a name that echoes after you're gone. Legacy is war against the pull of mediocrity. Mediocrity wants you quiet, forgotten, average. Legacy demands you fight, bleed, sacrifice, and win. Which side do you think history remembers? Nobody remembers the peasants. Nobody remembers the quiet. Nobody remembers the weak. They only remember the ones who burned their way into eternity. So here's your choice. Die a ghost or die a legend. Be erased or be eternal. Fade into dust or carve your name into stone. Because at the end of the day, it's not about whether you lived, it's about whether you mattered. You've heard it all. Body, mind, money, legacy. It all stacks into one truth. You are either becoming a king or you are rotting as a peasant. There is no middle ground. Every day is proof of which side you've chosen, whether you admit it or not. You want to know the real secret? The kings of this world aren't smarter than you. They aren't luckier. They aren't destined. They just refuse to quit. They took the same punches, the same heartbreak, the same failures, and they weaponized them. While you cried, they trained. While you scrolled, they studied. While you looked for comfort, they walked into fire. That's why they own the world. That's why their names echo and yours doesn't. You keep telling yourself tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll start. Tomorrow I'll change. Tomorrow I'll finally stop wasting time. Let me tell you something vicious. Tomorrow doesn't exist. It never has. All you have is today, and every day you lie to yourself, you die a little more. One day you'll run out of tomorrows and you'll realize you spent your whole life as a coward. That's when regret will kill you, and it won't stop until you're in the ground. You think discipline is hard? Try regret. Try waking up at 60 knowing you wasted everything. Try explaining to your kids why you left them nothing but excuses. Try looking in the mirror knowing you could have been a god but chose to live like a worm. That pain is permanent. That pain never leaves. And the only way to avoid it is to rise now, before it's too late. You've been lied to. Society tells you men should relax, chase fun, waste years, numb themselves, and hope life magically works out. That is a lie designed to keep you weak. The truth is brutal. Life is war. And in war, there are only two outcomes: victory or death. You don't get to coast. You don't get to just exist. You either dominate or you're dominated. You either take control or you're controlled. The clock is your enemy. Death is your shadow. Time is hunting you down, and every second you waste makes it stronger. But here's the gift. You can flip the game. You can make time your ally by using it ruthlessly, by squeezing every drop from every hour until there's nothing left. That's how kings are made. Not by comfort, not by waiting, by choosing every single day to go to war with themselves and come out sharper. Most of you won't make it. Most of you will hear these words, feel a rush of motivation for 5 minutes, then crawl back into weakness. That's why most of you will die forgotten. That's why most of you will rot in mediocrity. Because you think you have time. Because you think you can dabble in greatness. Greatness doesn't accept dabblers. It demands obsession. It demands sacrifice. It demands that you burn the bridge back to average and never look over your shoulder again. You want to be remembered? Then move like a man possessed. Move like every rep matters. Move like every dollar matters. Move like every second matters. Stop pretending you can coast through life and somehow wake up as a king. You won't. You'll wake up as a slave, chained to regret, chained to weakness, chained to a wasted life. But you don't have to. You can make the decision right now, not tomorrow, not next week. Now decide that you are done being average. Decide that you are done hiding from pain. Decide that you are done being invisible. Decide that you will build a body that intimidates, a bank account that liberates, a mindset that cannot be broken, and a name that will never be erased. Because in the end, this is all that matters. When death comes, will it fear you or laugh at you? Will it whisper, "Another wasted life"? Or will it tremble knowing it's taking a man who conquered? That's the only question. That's the only test. That's the only scoreboard that matters. So fight every day. Fight the weakness. Fight the excuses. Fight the urge to waste time. Fight until your name is written in fire. Fight until your legacy is undeniable. Fight until the world has no choice but to remember you. Because kings aren't born, kings are made, and you have two choices. Make yourself one or die forgotten.
Lazy people do a little work and feel like they should be winning. Winners work as hard as possible and still worry that they're being lazy. This is absolutely and utterly true. Even myself, as hard as I work with my monumental successes and billions of dollars, I sit at home and wonder, should I be doing more? Could I do more? Did I really need to sleep 7 hours? Would I have survived if I slept 6? Of course I would have. I feel permanent guilt for how hard I do not work, even though I outwork all of you. And you losers who pale in comparison to me in basically every metric that we have the science to measure, manage to do a little bit of work one day and then think you deserve time off. I deserve time off at the end of the year. I've had a hard year.
Thinking about it, Andrew, I'm just analyzing our year. Have we had a single day off this year? 1,000 push-ups a day, push-ups, squats. Have we taken a single day off? Name one day where you haven't done any work in any realm this year. 0. I haven't had a single day off this entire year. Not one. There hasn't been a single day where I have worked 0 on the business, worked 0 on my body, my physicality, my strength, worked 0 on my fucking mind, worked 0 on anything. Just chill. Let's chill. Let's have a chill day. We've had 0 chill days this year.
0.
0.
How do you deal with procrastination?
Why are you asking me that question? Why are you on this podcast asking me how to stop procrastinating? Turn off YouTube. Go do something. What's wrong with people? This is exactly what you were talking about asking a question where you already know the answer to. You know the answer is to stop doing things that waste your time and apply yourself to something important. Now, this may not be a waste of your time, but let me tell you, you're a dumbass, clearly. It's like Googling how to get fit, like you just said. Everyone knows what a push-up is. Do 10,000 of them a day. Stop wasting your time. You know, I've never had to deal with procrastination. I've never had to deal with not being motivated because what is the alternative? Literally, be a loser forever. I am sick of reading shit on the internet saying, yeah, you know, some people are special and they take longer to bloom and your time will come. Let me tell you something. 99.9% of people who are born broke, live broke, stay broke, die broke. That is the reality for almost everybody. You already know the answer. You don't need me to tell you.
I can't stop myself working as a person who doesn't need money. And then there's people with no money who don't work. It blows my mind, which is why the winners are winners and the losers are losers. And it's almost like you can't save these people. I have something I sent in my email recently. I said, you could give the average man a brand new Ferrari and a roadmap, and a coffee, and a full tank of gas, and tell him the destination, success. And halfway along the drive, he'll quit. It's just too far. How well you set it up for people, they'll quit. And people will sit there and go, and then put on Netflix. What more? I'm giving you a Ferrari, a full tank of gas. I'm giving you the latte. I'm giving you a roadmap. I'm giving you a hot girl to sit next to you and play songs, do selfies. I'm giving you everything. Just drive the car. No, yeah, it's far. I don't have motivation. Do. You're a loser. You are a loser. If you do not win, you lose. What do you call someone who loses? A loser. That is an underused word. Loser. My brother and I use it all the time. This person thinks this. He's a loser. What do you mean he's a loser? Look at him. He's a loser. He lost. Name a competition. I beat him at anything. Uno, marbles, a fight to the death. You name it. I'll decimate this loser.
First things first, the biggest mistake most of you are making. You should be hungry all of the time. You are an animal. Do not forget that you exist in two realms simultaneously as an individual. You exist with your evolutionary biological makeup as an animal and also the societal version which has been constructed. They're different things. But as an animal, your body is designed to perform at best while you are hungry because you're supposed to be hunting for food. If you're full of food, you're going to be lazy and lethargic. You should always be a little bit hungry. Even after I directly finish a meal, I'm a little bit hungry because I don't eat enough that week. So the first thing is always stay a little bit hungry. Second thing is coffee. Caffeine is a miracle drug. I am heavily caffeinated at all times, 15 to 20 coffees a day. I've also done a lot of research into coffee, a lot of research and understanding. I've also tried to quit coffee to see if there's actually any genuine benefit or improvement to my life. There is nothing wrong with coffee. It can never hurt you. Coffee, a bunch of it. Less food, more coffee. I do not take protein powders. I do not take creatine. I do not take steroids. I do not take TRT. Nothing. Lots of coffee, lots of meat. When I do eat, I eat once a day. If you stay a little bit hungry, eat a meat-heavy diet, lots of coffee, you will begin to work faster. I absolutely guarantee it. Do those things. Do those exact things. Stay hungry, drink coffee. Tell us the truth if you genuinely feel better, because I guarantee you do. Guarantee.
It's actually an amazing point because you and I, not many people know this about us, we have a problem with napping.
Yeah.
We're anti-nap.
That's the one thing we'll bully each other for.
If anyone catches the other one having a nap, they get bullied. I'm tired like a baby, and I want to have my nap because I'm tired like a baby, and babies are tired, and my eyes are tired. I want to have being like a baby. This is the thing. Naps are so important because people are always napping. And they're like, sleep's really important for your cognitive and your muscles. If that's so true, how come you sleep more than me? I sleep 4 hours a day. I'm built like a tank. I beat the shit out of you, and I'm smarter than all of you, and I'm richer than all of you. Why are you sleeping so much if it hasn't helped you at all?
Yeah.
Clearly you're just lazy. And you think, oh, just have a nap. How do you even sleep? I can't even sleep. I've got too many things in my mind, too many problems to solve. You're sitting there sleeping away like a loser. And you should bully all your friends for napping. Because you know who takes naps? Babies. Babies love naps. So next time you see your friend napping, say, oh, you know, I know someone else who takes a nap. It's a baby. It's 1 year old. I know this 1-year-old who loves naps. Oh, did you have a nice nap?
And when I say try your best, because we're not robots, that means also do your best at relaxing and resting. If you're going to work, work. If you're going to chill, then chill. You don't want to be a dim light that's half on. You want to do one or the other. Now, I find chilling and relaxing, I guess this is my personality, it makes it easy, extremely stressful. Then there's nothing more stressful for me than trying to not do my work. Because if I'm not doing my work, then I'm thinking about the work I'm supposed to do, and I'm more stressed than doing the work. So everyone goes, hey, Andrew, you need to just chill. I'm like, that sounds terrible. That sounds like the most stressful situation to be in. So all I want to do is work. But if you're going to do something, you should be doing your absolute best at it. What's the point in doing anything if you're not going to do your best at it? And it's amazing how things can translate. If you do your best in one thing, it's not only the fact that the way you do one thing is the way you do everything, but if you do your best in one thing, it can radiate out across your entire life. That's the greatest thing about being a man. As a man, when you upgrade your life and you become a better man, by extension, you automatically improve the lives of all of your friends, of your woman, of your children, of your community, of your country. We radiate. It's amazing. But putting in that extra effort pays off, dividends. And you can look at it spiritually. You can be philosophical about it and say that God rewards people who try hard. That's how I like to see it. God is literally looking at all of us, no matter which God you believe in, and he's saying, all these people I've created, who's thankful? Any one of us could have lost our eyesight to bacteria at age 2. Any one of us. We didn't. So saying, who's thankful enough for what they have that they're trying their absolute best with it all of the time? So if you do that, he's like, I like this stuff. I like him. He's cool. Give him blessings. Give him something. It's amazing what comes your way. If someone were to say to me, Andrew, if you make an extra $1, or if you throw an extra punch, endless blessings will come your way, it would be disingenuous of me to sit and say I couldn't do it. So I want you to actually think about what you've done your complete best at. And then I want you to try and apply the analogy of focus, because I focused my power into one knuckle and did more damage than any of you could ever do.
It's actually interesting because I think humans, or maybe this is just me coping, maybe this is cope, but I think we're designed to struggle a bit. Because the closer you are to struggle, the more sensible you are. Also, if you meet somebody who's had a hard life, they seem to be pretty wise. Yeah. It's difficult to find someone who's had a hard life who's a total idiot. When you speak to these morons, they've had very easy, soft lives. So I think humans are supposed to struggle a bit. I know it's overused, but hard times create good men create good times, and the good times create a bunch of weaklings, and they mess everything up. These people have had 2 easy lives for too long, and none of them know any struggle at all. I mean, I don't know about you. I can almost crash my car 10 times. And I only slow down when I hit the tree. This is how I am. Like, I think that inside of the human psyche, sometimes you need to be shocked. You need to be hammered with something. That's just how it goes. Because until then, you're like, maybe I'll keep it in mind. But there's a lot of these people out there who aren't being taught any lessons at all because they have never had any kind of difficulty in their life. And what is life without difficulty in the first place? But I think life is actually pretty simple. There's action and reaction. There's cause and effect. There's brave people and there's cowards. A lot of people are self-interested. And if you understand the basis of these motivations, it's not difficult to work out why the world functions the way it does. And cause and effect and action and reaction are very real. And I think one of the largest plagues we have in the world today is a lack of action amongst people. And deciding not to act is an action in and of itself, right? And that's the only philosophy you need for life. If you want something to move, you have to move it. If you sit and wait for somebody else to move it, you're a coward. Yeah. You're just hoping it's going to happen. And that's why I don't understand when a lot of people who see where the world is going and see the future that's going to be laid out for their children kind of just hope and pray when they really need to be taking a more active role, even if it's as simple as discussing every subject with anyone who will listen. There's nothing more expensive than not working, trying to have fun, enjoy your life, because then you spend money. But if you work, it's free. In fact, you get paid. It's even better. I probably spend 90% of my waking hours work, and then I'll go out and race a car around. It's the only thing I enjoy to do. I'll train, I'll beat anyone up who's ready to fight, and then I'll go back to work. All I do is work. Endless. Never ends. There's always something to be done. Isn't there?